Morning everybody, hope you're doing really well. Today I'm in West Sussex and I am climbing up the hill, running up that hill in the words of Kate Bush, to Windmill, which in its own right is an interesting historical landmark, shall we just sort of politely say, but slightly more to it than you think. So enjoy your history lesson, and thankfully you won't get to see me puffed out. Although you might do actually. Anyway, I'll see you on the other side when hopefully I'm a little bit closer. Come on. Situated in West Sussex, close to Chichester, lies one of its many iconic historical landmarks, known as Windmill. But what you may not know is that within its grounds lies a very important piece of World War II history, that of the remains of 4 separate World War II radio direction finding stations, about 100 metres apart in a semicircular arc on the east side of Hownacker Hill. Due to the coastal locations of the chain home system, radar coverage inland was mostly non-existent, and therefore purpose-built direction finding stations were built inland in order to track and identify and direct our own fighter aircraft. These stations, known as HFDF or Huff-Duff, were able, by a system of triangulation involving 2 or more stations, to very accurately determine an aircraft's position and bearing from its radio transmissions. The HFDF station on Hownacker Hill would appear to have differed from most setups in that it was a close proximity multi-station system. Single stations in groups of 2 or 3 30 miles apart were the norm, linked by telephone to sector control centres. The purpose of multiple HFDF stations built close together is thought to have been to triangulate radio signals from aircraft relatively close to them. Unlike conventional stations, they did not need long-distance baselines in order to achieve that. They also enabled the control of more than one squadron of aircraft at the same time. It is also thought that the individual HFDF site situated at Hownacker Hill to the south of the windmill was built to provide coverage from the southwest, as the windmill would have interfered with the VHF line of the site transmissions from that direction. And although by no means common, there are known to have been similar multiple station sites like the one at Hownacker Hill elsewhere in the country. But what about the windmill itself? Well, that had its very own use in World War II, having been used by the Home Guard as an observation post. With commanding views, it's no wonder this made for a great reason for its use. And with all that said, the hill must have been a very busy place. And although HFDF sites weren't uncommon, the fact that a windmill placed alongside definitely adds to this wonderful piece of World War II history. Hi, we've made it. Let me try and get in the light. Hey, we made it to the top of the hill. I sort of accidentally went a skew-if way, and I think from the way that I came, it's quite common that probably people do that. It's slightly it just feels a little bit disjointed to me. The point is, we've made it, and it sort of soon becomes clear when you're literally on top of Hownacker Hill, how apparent this beautiful, absolutely incredible. The views here are... It reminds me of Glastonbury Tor, if any of you have been there, where it is 360-degree view of miles and miles of countryside. I mean, miles. Yeah, wasn't expecting that. Really wasn't. Anyway, we start on there. So obviously it was labelled in the history lesson that there are 4 of these sites here. This is the first one, which I want to just say this very clearly. We are on some farmers' land on the outskirts of this, so I'm trying to show as much respect as possible, and I don't really want to stay here any longer than I need to. But here's our first one, and trust me, the one that's actually on top of the hill, which obviously we will come to, is in very good condition, and that's going to help me sort of help describe what they look like. Obviously you've seen them in a history lesson, but it'll be quite a nice thing to sort of actually get a proper, deeper understanding of them, really. Obviously you can see the brick foundations there. This octagonal, isn't it? 2, 4, 6. Is it octagonal? No, it's not, is it? It's more than that. 2, 4, 6, 8. Yeah, no, not. Ignore that. Looks like it though, doesn't it? Is it octagonal? 2, 4, 6. No. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, it is octagonal. Sorry, couldn't count for a second. And even on this one, really doesn't take much to understand how important the views are from here. And it's a shame this one's in the condition it's in. You can probably understand it because of its location on the farmer's field. And because it's very early in the morning, we've got a beautiful, beautiful sky here to sort of see. Anyway, there's our windmill. Let's go take a look at it. Let's go talk about it. And we'll find the other 3. Brilliant, let's go. Okay, so excuse the lighting. It's very difficult where the sun's coming through to try and get a really good perspective of this. But we're now going to take a look at the actual windmill itself. Now, obviously in the history lesson, the Home Guard was stationed here and was used as an observation post. Obviously you know this, talking you through it. And it's at one point it was really abandoned, in terms of you could probably have gone into it and it had seen really, really, you know, it was decayed. I mean, it was proper ruin, decay. And what they've done is they've really done an amazing job of the restoration. And now, from the looks of it, now I'm not 100% sure because actually I don't think anybody is, but this probably looks like it's going to be used for bats. You can see the grated part there. I mean, it's perfect for bats to roost in it. But what an incredible viewpoint. I'm going to keep saying it. It really makes perfect sense. And you can imagine if the German bombers were flying overhead, you'd get a fantastic view. But obviously, as we know with this radar direction finding equipment as well, was that also that purpose, as we've explained before, wasn't necessarily to track the enemy, it was to track our own planes. And so that's what makes that really useful as well. I just want to see if, now I know that's locked so I'm not going to go, but I'm trying to read what that says. It says the ancient landmark, this ancient landmark was restored in the year 1934, which makes sense of our World War II afterwards, by Sir William Byrd of Latham, I can't read that, forgive me, as memory of his, it's completely rubbed out, I'm assuming that means work, but again after that, post World War II, it had completely fallen into disrepair. And it's strange when we sort of understand actually, although it's a very important historical landmark on the West Sussex county, its deeper history being important for World War II can't be understated. I mean, I tell you what, I'm not confessing to be a fit lad by any means, especially the older I've got. It's got, you know, I've sort of maintained my own little pace and level now. But I tell you what, if you're in the Home Guard and you're of a certain age, I can imagine going up and down this hill would have been an interesting struggle for you. But I tell you what, when you get to the top, it's so worth it. I saw a beautiful woman jogging her dogs around here doing some laps. She actually made me jump. I was just about to start filming. Little personal note. literally just about to start filming, and I wasn't expecting. It was a woman literally come right by me. I didn't even realise that sort of thing. But there you go. Trig point. Let's have a look at. It's been graffitied on. Wow. We that desperate that we have to graffiti on a trig point. I'm sure actual genuine graffiti artists who may or may not watch this channel will be turning over that. Of all the things you should graffiti, a trig point. Really? Really? Anyway, that's our windmill. We've spoken about it. Obviously, we covered it in the history lesson. Home guard usage just gives the perfect opportunity for a windmill to be here anyway. You can imagine, I mean, like I said, you can tell how high we are up because from the ground level, there was no wind at all. And obviously, I brought my wind muff with me. And the moment you come up here, the wind is just hits you. So I'm glad I brought my wind muff for a change. But yeah, beautiful windmill. Well restored. Love it to bits. What a perfect observation point during World War II when you can see everything. Well, I'm in love with this view, I'll tell you that. Well worth the walk. Anyway, we need to go to probably the best restored one, and we're going to talk about it a little bit more. So stay with me and let's go. Okay, time to get geeky. Yeah, so what was really interesting when I was doing my research on this place anyway in general was the fact that they originally thought that these, for whatever reason, I have no idea, was a searchlight emplacement or a heavy anti-aircraft, something to do with that. And they assumed that actually what we were looking at were pillboxes, which for any other person you would think that they are. And in fact, actually, you can get anti-aircraft pillboxes, which are sort of like these ones that sort of they were designed that the roof came off and you could shoot up. That's another story for another day. In fact, we might cover some maybe in a history lesson at some point with another site that I'm hoping to go to. But here's probably the best condition one. And like we said before, there's 4 of them. There's another one over there that's seen better days, and there's another one just down there, and we're probably going to try and take a look at them if possible. And then our other one was just down there where we were to start our history lesson. Now, what I'll do is we'll talk about it from, let me stand at a distance for you, because I want to sort of explain this, because you've seen the photos in the history lesson what they look like, but we now need to put it in context whilst we're here. And it's actually, I'm really grateful there's actually one that's in really good condition. So let's take a look. So what you've got to imagine is, let's stand back. I want to try and actually, we're going to stand quite far back on this. You'll understand why in a minute. Okay. So, standing here, what you've got to imagine is that this is really the only bricked section that you'd have. And in fact, if you looked at it, it would be mostly wood on top. It would actually kind of look like if it was the windmill. So let's try and picture this. Hang on, let me move. Right. So there we are. So what you've got to try and do is you've got to picture that there would have been a wooden section, like literally standing on top of that brick base. And in there would have been someone operating this sort of like radar direction finding equipment. But that you'd be, this is one, but obviously all 4 of them would be working together to pinpoint the accuracy of them. And as we said before, these ones were designed to actually help Allied planes to obviously get them to document where they are, to obviously help hopefully put them in formation, etc, etc. So that's really what it should look like. Obviously, unfortunately, we don't have any pictures of this actual site itself ever having that. And as we know, obviously the wood's going to obviously erode really quickly. It's going to be used for other purposes. This is heavy farming land all around this area, so you can understand that stuff like that would have been used. And we know that obviously the windmill became abandoned quite quickly after its use during World War II. And, you know, again, like, you know, but it really does put it into context of where we are, how important a site like this would be. And especially on how high we are up. I mean, it makes for a perfect spot. The thing is though, on this site, which probably a reason why they wouldn't have extended it or made it any bigger, was actually what you're looking at. I'll take that away now. So what you're looking at is actually a circular structure. Really, the hill is literally on a ball, if that makes sense, like on a sort of arch bubble. So actually anything bigger, you could sort of imagine actually a chain home links, for example, although they were mostly by the coast. I'm just giving you an example, by the way. Anything bigger than that, there's not enough room here and it all would have been sloped down. I mean, even this one, you can see has had to have been adjusted to try and make it level. This isn't flat here. The windmill's on a flat part of the hill, but it does slope down. In fact, actually, when you look at the other one, it slopes down. The one at the back slopes down. So let's take a look inside. So we've seen the foundation of this one already. Not this one, but we've seen the foundation of what they look like already from the other one. There we go. Octagonal. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, octagonal. I can't believe I don't know what was happening to me. I just couldn't count for a second. That's not. I was going to say it's not unlike me, but I think if most of you know, I'm very brain dead in the morning. It's a shame actually. It's such a peaceful place until your ears start picking up the noise of the A road that's here, and it really does sort of like ruin it a little bit. Oh, try and get out of the light. I'm going to struggle with that today. Lots of graffiti, random stuff that makes literally no sense. And so yeah, so obviously standing from this, it would have been the main pivotal point, and obviously this would have been so you could tuck yourself in, basically, is the polite way of saying it. And then the wooden frame would have, oh sorry, I'll do that slowly. The wooden frame would have come up here, and obviously that sort of radar thing, which you've seen in the history list. It's really hard to describe it unless you actually sort of see a photo of it. And like I said, they all would have worked in conjunction together to really sort of like try and, so you'd have one, then you'd have another one to triangulate where it was coming across from, what signals they were getting. Must have been quite a lonely place actually, if you're here. I can't imagine it sort of being a place that you'd ever really want to sort of stay up here on a cold night. It must have been terrible on nights like that, all the wind and everything else. Not the best place you ever want to be, really. But yeah, I mean, it's incredible this one's in such good condition. There are, I mean, like I said, this is not uncommon, this. So there are other sites like this, but what makes this unique is what I sort of mentioned in history lesson, is the fact that the windmill that stands here was also home guard. So at one point in its World War II history, you know, there would have been quite an active site here, and because we are on farmland, it's not hard to imagine really, like, you know. But yeah, let's take a look at hopefully the other two. Come on. Right, okay, so we're at the third one now, and obviously it's seen better days. Now I just want to sort of clarify this. This is on the farmer's land, and I just want to show as much respect as possible. So I'm really not going to take too much time on here, but this is purely for documentation. Different colour, not as bright as the other one, but obviously not in good condition either, and considering the other one on the farmer's land, he's pretty much decided to demolish these and let them hopefully be for habitation rather than anything else. And then the final one is there, which I'm going to quickly hop and skip over to, like I said, without causing any damage or minimising as much damage as possible. So again, I apologise for the fact that I'm doing something a little bit sketchy, but I'm here and I've got the chance to do it, so stay with me. Right, so very briefly, we're at the fourth and final one. As you can see, the windmill's over there. There's our other site that we explored, a very good one. There's our other one, our one's just around the corner. And here's our final one. Completely covered up in overgrowth. Wow. Try and get around. Sorry for it being rushed. It's just I am on a... don't think the farmer's going to be happy with me if I get through, although I'll walk through quickly. Yeah, let's have a look through. Might be able to get through the other side. Looks in fairly good condition actually. Let's keep trying. Come on. Right. Have a quick nosy. Oh wow. Water tank. Huh. Oh, look at that. Wow. Is it a water tank? It's some type of boiler though, isn't it? She thought you could get in, but it looks like you can't. Well, not very easily anyway. Let me just try and get around from the other side. Sorry everybody, I'm trying to be as respectful and quick as possible. Could crawl through there, but is it actually worth it? Yeah, it is. I'll just quickly duck and then point the camera in as close as I can get anyway. Oh, I can't squeeze through that. Oh, let's see. Oh, it doesn't. So maybe, oh, I'm getting excited then. Don't know where that comes through then. Reverse. Alright. Where do you get in? Am I being really silly? Mind you, it's so overgrown. Yeah, no, that's look promising, but that's actually just the other part of the tower. I thought that was a section. Anyway, there you go. Sorry about that, everyone. Thought I could have got around. But hey, we've documented it. Not the greatest one. To be fair, I've been to worse, and I think some of you probably know that, but I think it's where it's overgrown, you just can't get in. It looks like it's probably in that way. Well, I could be wrong. Anyway, let's head back to safer ground. Come on. Well, as I stand in front of the beautiful windmill here, overlooking this simply stunning view, I really hope you enjoyed this. I just want to say sorry to the farmer for technically walking across his land to get to the other bits, but I needed to put him in situ, and the thing was they were just there basically begging for me to document them as best as possible, although that last one was really interesting because I just couldn't find a way in. Anyway, thank you so much for your time and patience. Much love to all of you out there, and in more words of Phoenix history, because history matters. It really does, doesn't it? I mean, let's be honest, sometimes you just got to do a video just for the view. And it really, this has got to be one of the best ones I think I've ever been to. And the good thing is now, it's downhill for me. I've done the difficult part, I walked up the hill. So hopefully you enjoyed it. Like I said, stay safe. In more words of Phoenix history, because history matters. And I'll see y'all very soon. Kapow!